Is starting a video podcast show a good idea for your business? Let's find out. What's going on, everybody? My name is Karim Mustafa. I'm co-founder and CEO of Tribe Tactics, and this series of videos, as always, we want to give you everything that you need to be able to plan and grow your very own original series for your business. Except there is this one question of, well, should we even do a video podcast for our business? Would it even be a good idea? And I wanted to give you a list, rather a checklist of 4 different items that you can think about, 4 different questions that you can ask your team internally. And based on the answers for these questions, you'll have a lot more information as to whether you're ready to actually build a video series for your business. So the first one is thought leadership potential. Are you saying something new as a business, or are you just saying what everyone else is saying? What I mean by that is, even though we may naturally have competitors, even though we may have others who are offering very, very similar products, very, very similar services, are you, or rather, have you been able to carve out a niche that you specifically focus on, and things that you perhaps have an unfair advantage on in, or a competitive advantage where you can really carve out something that you could really call your own and really genuinely build thought leadership in? That's the first question that we would always ask. And if the answer is yes to that, then definitely keep on going. Otherwise, it's probably important to figure that out first in terms of your positioning and your specific niche, because when you build a video series, it's a lot more effective and your results can really compound when you're going out there with the message that you are the thought leader in a specific niche. And in case you feel like you've run out of niches, check out some of our other videos before where we talked about our concept of the abundance of niches and how when one niche saturates in a weird way, it actually creates more niches underneath it. Definitely check out these videos if you haven't already, but I'll keep going on with the checklist. So that's the first one. The second thing is, do you actually understand your audience and what they care about? Do you understand, specifically like the personas that you're after, and what they genuinely care about for their specific roles in their specific businesses, or is it all still a blur? If it is still a blur, again, this is definitely something to figure out first, just so that your efforts don't go to waste when you start building a video podcast. You want to make sure that you have a very specific persona for your show, the same way you have, let's say, you may have like 3 or 4 personas for your business if you follow inbound marketing, right? For your show, you'd really need to zero in on just one persona per show, unless you have multiple shows, in which case each show could probably focus on a different persona. But you really need to know who you're speaking to. Otherwise, the message will just feel like watered down, and people won't know if this is something for them or if it's for the general public. As you can imagine, people don't want something that's general. They want to feel like this is something that's clearly made for them, right? Cool. So that's the second checklist item. The third one is, can you entertain, educate, or inspire your audience in a unique way? So again, like, we're huge fans and we've seen the data to support this, that, shows should not just be dry educational, like infomercials, for lack of a better word. Like, it has to be something that is primarily entertaining. Yes, even before education, number one by far is it has to be entertaining. It doesn't mean that it would be a comedy show or a humorous show, unless you do want to do something that's funny, then that's of course totally fine. But entertaining could also mean something that is thought provoking, something that's inspiring, something that's motivating, something that's attention grabbing, maybe even shocking, right? It has to have some form of suspense or entertainment value, and of course, naturally, it could also lend itself to educational value. But these are 2 things to keep in mind, that in addition to education, which naturally comes to a lot of content marketers, like the educational piece comes very naturally. With video shows, it's different. Like, there's this additional layer of actually making something entertaining. And it could be difficult at first, but if you can find a unique way to make your show a bit more entertaining, then you're already on to something pretty cool. And we did actually create videos on how to get more word of mouth for your show, and that is something that could definitely help you. And the other thing as well is, we did create a video on how to make your show overall like binge worthy, and more exciting and more entertaining and engaging overall. So definitely check out these 2 videos. We'll link to them below. And yeah, it's important to make sure that you have a unique take on the topics that you plan to discuss, to make sure that the subject matter is interesting. All right, so we finished 3 items from the checklist. The final 2 then are: do you have at least one person internally who's super passionate about this and can essentially be the champion for it, right? Because naturally, at least right now, at the time of this recording, there's no like official job title, right, for someone who owns video shows and video podcasts, unless your company is one of the lucky ones that have actually figured that out, in which case my hat off to you. But for many companies, it has to be somebody's job. It has to be someone's baby, someone's project. And so if you have someone like that who's an internal champion, that would be great. And if not, we probably need to find that person first, right? Ideally, they would come from leadership, but we've seen many, many cases where it starts from, like passionate, like grassroots, and that works its way up to the rest of the company. So we need to make sure that there is an internal champion, because that's the person that's going to keep us going when things get tough, or when things start to take a little bit maybe longer than expected, or take a slightly different turn. We need this internal energy source that's going to keep it rolling, right? And then last but not least is, can we actually come up with a cadence that we can stick with? For example, like once a month, or even once every 2 weeks, or even once every 2 months. Like there's no cadence that's too sparse, if that makes sense. As long as you can pick something that you can commit to, and that people can expect from you, right? Some of our favorite shows, they're always putting out episodes on a Thursday, for example, or they're always putting out episodes every second Tuesday, so on and so forth. So figure out the cadence that works for you, even if it's much longer than that. Like even if it's just once a month and you want to change it later, you're absolutely allowed to change the cadence later on. But as long as you start off with consistency, because that's a great way to build trust further and further as well. So by answering these 5 checklist questions, you should hopefully have a better idea of whether your company is ready to start a video series. Hopefully that was helpful. Please do let us know if you are ready to start a video series in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next videos.